Chicks TV, the place to be for tips, tools, and strategies to help you do business better and to run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. Today is Friday, and that means it's Tech Day. It's the weekly show with your tech divas. So today, sit back, relax. We're going to talk tech, and like Terry says, in English. We're talking tech, social media, anything having to do with technology and social media or things happening in media. Anything you need to know, you can get it right here. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Terralina Austin um, of California Cover Ups.
Coming to you from Texas.
Woo! And I'm
Woo-hoo.
Francine, and I'm just here to help you get it all done and make sense of it all. That's what we do. That's what we do. So,
Francine, you are our real estate diva, our entrepreneur, and our tech diva. She's the
okay.
one who keeps everything rolling in the background. That's why we're on several platforms simultaneously. Modest one, but talented. How you doing this morning, Fran?
Good morning, Amel. So, we're going to start this off with this week in tech history, or actually this day in tech history. Osborne declares bankruptcy. And that's September 13th, 1983. The Osborne Computer Corporation declares bankruptcy only 2 years after producing the first portable computer.
Mm,
Now, I thought Apple had that distinction.
I did too.
Apparently not. Mm. Um, the Osborne One computer industry lore has it that the Osborne effect killed the company, but
Oh, I remember that.
it was also due to competitive pressure and mismanagement.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they told what they were about to do um, before they released it, and then people didn't buy it because they knew something new was coming out sooner. And I think that's where Apple got the strategy to release things during an event.
Yes, and I think the same thing is
And
that Apple, okay, when you're out buying the 10XS,
mhm.
10XS Max, and the 10XR, they're not telling you that 11 is coming around the corner.
Exactly. Or the watch, what they did with the watch. But we'll talk about that when we get into it.
Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean? Series 4 was out. Okay.
Exactly. We'll get into that. I think that's
And
interesting.
Dr. Tachi is here.
Hey, Tachi, how you doing?
I'm
Hey,
good. How are you all?
we
I'm
are
great. You look
well.
great, girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You know I have to do it up fresh for you guys.
Oh, I
I'm
appreciate
loving
you.
that top.
Thank
Thank you.
you. You know
Super
the
cute.
thank you. Thank you.
Super cute.
Thank you.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So, what's going on in the world of technology? Let's see. Now we get our stories from several different sources.
Mm-hmm.
The Verge, TechCrunch. Stuff is happening all over. There is stuff happening everywhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well,
And in media, I'm sure Tachi's might cover this. Didn't we have the Democratic convention or something?
oh, last
Yes, we
night
did last
from
night.
TSU. I was like, you go Texas Southern.
Yes,
It
and I
was
actually I
on
actually have some colleagues who are my friend that I graduated from grad school with is the
uh-huh.
dean of the School of Communication there.
All
So
right now.
yeah, they were very instrumental. I'm very excited about hosting it.
I was excited to see all of the parts being put together and watching the students, the interns, and the different people being able to be a part of it. I thought that was phenomenal.
Well, and that's the thing about, not that this doesn't happen at other schools, but
Oh,
this is the thing about HBCUs, that they really create opportunities for students to get involved and hands on. And this is a huge opportunity for the communication students and, political science students, etc., at Texas
yes.
Southern. So for them to be able to have this type of hands on, it's invaluable experience. And if I know my girl Raquel, she made she made a way for everybody. So.
Exactly. It was just phenomenal. And it was an what do you call it? Inaugural flight for HBCUs to be able to host such a large political event. So I was excited to watch it. I did watch it last night, um, and it was interesting. The thing I loved, and I think a lot of the students enjoyed, was hearing them talk about the possible cancellation of student debt. Oh my gosh. And possibly the future having more access to institutions of higher learning at a more economical what did you say, rate? I don't know how to put that to make
Because,
it
like, okay, I told,
affordable.
okay, remember, Terry, I was attending the University of
University.
People. Okay, they
Mm-hmm.
need a new marketing department for that, because who wrote that, I don't know. But the University of the
I do
People,
know.
it
Oh
is
yeah.
it is a real thing. It's $50 for you to apply. And you can take business administration or
Mm-hmm.
computer science at this time. Now they might have added some stuff since I attended.
It's been several years. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but you can get a degree, and they have people sitting on. Now you all are the university people, so they had people from Harvard, Yale, Oxford
Oxford.
sitting on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so how much is this again? It was $50 to attend, and then it's $100 when you took the final, for
Mm-hmm.
your test.
Each test. Uh-huh.
Each test. So at the end of it all, after to get a degree, it was going to cost me $4,050. I was like, excuse me.
Which is phenomenal.
Well, the other thing was that you didn't have to go to. It was online, so you didn't
Mm-hmm.
go to the actual facility. But if you're coming up and you got kids and you can't get there, or for whatever reason, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what?
I think this is invaluable. This is actually the future of higher education.
Yes, it
And
is.
I actually volunteered to teach for University of the People, but they didn't need me at the time.
Uh-huh.
But I had volunteered because I believed in the mission so much. I think
Yes.
it is despicable that you should come out of any institution and never be able to pay back, because we've set up a system that says in order to succeed, you need some sort of higher learning, or for those certain jobs, you need
Yes.
higher learning. But
Mm-hmm.
however, people are borrowing way more than they're ever going to be able to pay back. If you're a teacher, how are you going to pay back $150,000? You won't. You won't. And there's so many people
Well,
that die with
well,
that debt.
well, the deal is too, what they do is in order to pay it off, they forego buying a house, which is one of the things that is contributing to the slow economy, because
Exactly.
that generation is coming back home so they can pay off the debt.
It,
Exactly.
you see, again, when money leads, or
Hmm.
the love of money
When
leads.
greed leads, just
Oh,
say
here
it.
we go. When
When
greed,
greed leads, the people bleed.
and that's what happened.
Exactly.
I was like, ah.
Exactly.
So, and it wasn't, you would think online class. No, they told you need to allocate 15 hours each week to do your
Yes,
study.
yes,
And I
and
was like,
they had windows for the homework. It's just like any other online course from any other university.
Hmm.
Because I remember several courses my daughter was setting up for as a TA when she was in graduate school. What is it, North Texas?
Okay.
They had a lot of online things that they had to respond to just during the class, even though they had their butts in seats for the class. They had some online stuff that they had to complete.
Oh
So
yeah. I mean, I think, and this is what we also have to realize about today's student is not the traditional 18 to 23-year-old student. That's still a large part of it, but you
Hmm.
have a lot of, because of the GI Bill, you had, like, most of my students now, because I teach primarily online, are military. So you've got a
Ah,
lot of military students. You've got a lot of students who are in the workforce and maybe looking for a second career or whatever the
yes.
case may be. So the student of today is different from the traditional 1845 student. And, the academy has not really kept up with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad how behind the academy is.
Well, you know
Right.
what? I think that has always been the case because I can remember my mother going back to graduate school in the 50s. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
wow.
So, yeah, there's always going to be that student that returns. Um,
To finish something else.
yeah, yeah.
Or in my case, to get started. Now I know a lot of stuff, but I wanted to get, a piece of paper. I was like, okay, well,
Girl,
let
I'll
me.
print you one out tomorrow, no problem.
So
it's just,
I went,
it's
I
just
took the class
interesting.
and I'm doing good. And I'm telling you the peer review thing, and you're reading
Yes.
papers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, you can, and now I understand why you have to have English 1A when you go back to school, because some people cannot write a sentence.
Oh, my God.
I was like, oh, no wonder they tell us to come back,
Make you start over, yeah, with the general, what do they call those things? The general
Gen Ed,
courses?
general
Yes.
education
General
courses.
ed.
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
know that you didn't get it when you went through the
Or
first
that
school
there
year.
are some people who did not get it.
Exactly, exactly, and that's where there's a disconnect
Hmm.
between uh, secondary education, K through 12, and then us. Because what happens is there's just you can't. They're not separate, because when you have students who can't write at
Hmm.
on the high school level, then they get to me on the college level, and I have to sit there and tell them, look. And I'm not going to sit there and correct syntax and grammar, but I can't let you get away with not writing properly because I'm a communication professor. And so it's a disservice, to the student especially. But then I'm like, okay, so is somebody going to give me the extra money for having to teach them English now? No.
because the teacher in the K through 12 just said, okay, just go ahead,
And
just go
push
ahead.
them along. And then they're
Or
pushing them along because of this whole emphasis on testing and testing being the thing. So they're teaching to the test. So because of that, and I'm not teaching what you taught on the test, they're
hmm
they're they're missing something.
and we used to have a thing in the house, no, you when you're in here, you're going to speak the King's English, and whatever you do out there is something else. But right here, you're going to learn how to speak the King's English because when you get in the marketplace, that is what is spoken.
Mhm.
So if they're not getting that through an organic source, their community or whatever, then yeah, it's hard to translate it onto paper. But
And,
that's
and
all about what we're talking now about tech.
right, well, this has something to do with tech
It
because
does.
you had to have the tech in place for me to do my work.
Mm.
I had to have tech in place. I'm telling you,
And
and
you
I
had
could,
to know how to use it.
huh?
You had to know how to use it too.
Right, I
It
couldn't
was
have a PC and stuff crashing because you had to turn stuff in at a particular time. I had to know
hmm
how to, like Terry said, I had to know how to use the tech. I had to, because their stuff is in a portal, and I had to go into the portal to grade other people's papers, turn my papers in, and now you got to have, okay, so you need to make sure whatever word processor you're using can count the words, can do all of this stuff to send it up. It was all tech involved.
hmm So if you were not really technically familiar with your devices and how to use them for this purpose, then you really couldn't take advantage of it. So all of this tech that we try to get the kids to get off of, it might come in handy and save you a lot of money, parents.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like I said, I teach primarily online now for the
Mhm,
universities I work for. And you'd be surprised how many non-techie people there actually are. And so
mhm,
I'm a techie, but not every professor is a techie. So the thing is, we have set up an entire thing to take people through using the technology of these classrooms, whether it's Blackboard, Desire to Learn, or whatever the course
mhm.
management system is that we use. So there are, the different schools have set up, this is how you do this, this is how you do this. So it really actually, I have to say, takes effort on the part of the student to master that tech, because what I'm not going to sit there and do is answer questions about something that's already written down, that we've already
Mm.
taken the time to do all of this, because we know that technology can be and impede some people from doing this. So we write
Okay.
everything out so that they can do it. But then you still have the student who's like, well, did you call tech support? Because I know how to do it, but I'm not going to do it for you. So it also
Yes.
takes some effort on the part of the student to want to learn how to master this.
And
Yes.
this is a good subject because we are back to school. Uh,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and and when you are doing that, I run into, I'm telling you, I'm just working with people. Well, where's that button?
Okay.
How?
What is a browser?
Right. I'm talking about the basics of, okay, so there's the tech on how to use your computer, then there's the tech on how to actually get to the internet. That's two different functions. Because if you don't even know what button to push, you're not getting to the internet.
And you have to be there before you start any of this, because what no instructor or professor has time to do is to sit there and go through the basics that you should have already had, because we have to get to the meat of what the course is. So what needs to happen probably is, maybe there needs to start to be a very basic requirement of not necessarily a course, but some sort of short course that you have to pass before you can take this. And that includes,
How about that becomes part of the general ed courses?
but if
Right.
it's a gen ed, then people won't take it, because you have your choices with different gen eds that you could take.
But some of them are required,
Well, if every course is the
right?
prerequisite is basic computer skills, okay, then that's the prerequisite for this.
Right. Right,
And
you can make it a prerequisite as a part, as opposed to part. It can be a gen ed, but gen eds are, for some people, especially at the schools I've been at, they've been so general that you have a wealth of gen eds you can take, and
Okay.
there's certain ones that people won't take, if not required to do so. So if you make it like Francine said, a prerequisite,
Prerequisite,
then yeah, that could work.
because the majority of this work is going to be online, therefore you need to take this course. That
Hmm.
makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
and I think there would be a very good business opportunity just teaching basic computer.
Absolutely.
Sit here,
Absolutely.
push that button, push this button, because the thought is the same no matter what machine you're using. There's
Okay.
a big thought, and I see that a lot. Well, what do I do now? Okay, and I understand now that people don't understand the basic
Process.
process. Okay, the little square with an arrow means
Share.
share. You basic stuff, and I'm not saying that to. I see the need for having somebody teach just the basics, because
Mhm.
And well, here's the thing: it's a business opportunity. But what happens is, what my suggestion is, don't partner with any university to do it. Here's why: because what they do is they'll like, oh yeah, and they'll be interested, and then they'll make one of their faculty members teach it, so they don't have to pay for it. Universities are notoriously cheap. They don't want to pay for anything. They want to overgive stuff to their faculty to do, particularly adjunct. So they may pay an adjunct to do it, as opposed to a faculty member, a full-time
Exactly.
faculty member. So they'll pay an adjunct. The point is, they don't want to pay you to come in and do that as
right.
a thing. So
But I think it needs to be offered outside of the university.
outside of the university. outside of the
Well,
university.
here's the concern. Well, not concern, but here's the interesting part. How do you market tech to non-techie people? So you can't use technology because
Well, you
they're
would
not
have
gonna
to,
see
you would be marketing it to their family members, saying,
it. Okay.
oh, grandma needs that, or dad needs that because he's trying to learn something, and you would put it up on a bulletin board
Hmm.
on a piece of paper.
And then, also different cities like here in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, we have, a myriad of radio stations like everyone does. But there's one particularly that's an urban format radio station that in the morning, the DJ does announcements like from the community and has people come to the station and talk about their event. So if you do something, do it as a free event first for the community, learning how to, and then you can kind of at that point people can talk to you about
Expand from
going
there.
further and expand from there. But that way, that at least gets your name out there and lets people know you're doing this.
And that the service is available.
Correct.
Right. And it helps a lot of people because even in the industry of real estate, more and more they're sending documents to my clients and other clients for them to sign online, and they barely know how to open an email. And so
Exactly.
and they're and they don't want to feel frustrated. So I'll walk them through, okay, let's do this, and okay. But the time it takes to, because the document to sign is basically click here, click, 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 and you're done. But if you don't know what buttons to push to get to the email that has the document,
or you're trying to scroll on a phone from 10 years ago, or a flip phone, you're probably not going to see the box because you're going to be scrolling and scrolling. I don't see
you
it.
can't find.
Yeah, that is a
challenge.
A challenge, yes. That is definitely challenging. But okay, you know what? And you're the queen of this, Terralina. You are the queen of. There's always going to be some inequities. So let me lean on your shield for a moment. There are always going to be some inequities. So if you are actually serious about this, at some point you have to decide, what is it that I need in order to catch up to 2019?
You mean, am I going to invest in the tools?
Correct. Are you going to invest in the tools? And that doesn't have to be the most expensive tool. You may not be able to do that, but there's also used. There's also, there are all sorts of things that you could do to invest in the tools until you do get to the point where you could get the top of the line, if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, I think. If you can't afford, I will always tell somebody to go get a Mac. I'm just going to tell you that because it's easy to work with. But if you cannot do that and you can't fathom the cost that get a Chromebook, because
it's like $400, right?
Right. Or less, depending on, you go get back to
generation,
might be less. But $400 for a Chromebook is not bad. You can still move around and maneuver on the computer, but you don't have to worry about an operating system failure. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You won't have to get the blue screen of death.
And take it down to the BIOS and bring it back up.
Gosh. I got out of that world.
Oh my God.
I had to jump ship. When I am Control Alt Delete, going and trying, like Terry said, go to the BIOS and figure out why I can't send something.
Crazy.
Like, what?
Putting in the disk. Remember that? Put in the disk to bring it back
and
up, bring it down.
Oh yeah.
Putting in what do they call those things? A VA card, visual graphic cards, and extra buses so you have more.
I had to get out.
RAM. I was like, okay, you know what? I am
right?
Done. What?
You know what we sound like? I had to go to school in the snow. It was 12 feet high. Okay.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But get a system that works for you. Bottom line is what we're saying. And there are so many choices out there now that, like Tachi said, you don't have to go for the high-end model. if you're not comfortable with that, but get something that you can work and that is easy for you to maneuver around. That, and that my suggestion would be, if you're not going to get a Mac, get a Chromebook.
Okay, this is good.
Good
This is
stuff.
You didn't mention PC. Get a Mac or a Chromebook.
If you don't want those pop-ups, if you're frustrated by pop-ups.
Okay, and can somebody explain to me how you get pop-ups on a phone?
If you're using Chrome, it's easy. If you're using your browser, it's easy to get pop-ups anywhere, especially if you're Android. I don't know if you guys are iPhone or Android.
iPhone.
We
So
have iPhones. I've never seen a
I've
pop-up
seen pop-ups see on
where I
somebody
couldn't get rid of it.
Android's phone. It was pop-ups coming up. I was like, how are you getting pop-ups on your phone?
Oh yeah, they're there.
Explain that. I mean, because is it because it's Android and there's like ads in the app or something? Because I was like,
Do they turn on the permissions when you buy it?
I don't know.
So where are you seeing pop-ups? Their pop-ups, are they browser-related pop-ups, or they're pop-ups on your phone?
There was pop-ups on this person's phone
on the desktop.
No, I'm looking at their phone and something ad or something pops up. I was like, why is that here?
So it's just marketing to them while the phone's sitting there.
I think it's an Android thing.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that happen on Android. I have not seen that with iPhone, but I have seen that with Android. And again, we have to consider. So iPhone is using iOS, which is the Apple operating system. They have the tendency not to. Well, they can get viruses and things, but they get them far less than an operating system like an Android, which is Google, right? Remember that the government and stuff gets these viruses all the time. Most people, a lot more people use non-iOS stuff than iOS. So most of these viruses, etc., are made for other systems outside of iOS, if that makes sense. So that's why you get them less often. That doesn't mean you can't get them, but it happens less often. But yeah, you could absolutely get pop-ups anywhere where there is a system. I can put a pop-up. It is possible to get pop-ups on your phone, etc. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and people do it.
You just have to, block them. You can block them.
I just I don't, it's like getting junk mail. It's like I need to stop it at the mailbox. I don't want the stuff coming in my house. So you have to take that into consideration. I really don't like pop-ups. We got a lot of comments going on over here. Let's see. We got Brenna in the house. Hey, Gary. Gary's in the house. And we got Donna and Janice was in here. And let's see what we got going on. Brenna was talking about prerequisites with, computer physics 101. An immersion course. I'm thinking that might work. Just help with course. Let's see. Jay's in the house.
Hey, Jay.
Jay said,
don't forget Adele.
No, don't get Adele. He didn't say don't forget.
Yeah, I used to have Adele. Oh my gosh, it was a challenge, and that's why I ended up taking a computer course to figure out how to take it down to the BIOS and bring it back.
Okay, see, I'm not doing all that. I just want to write. I just want to write a letter.
Thank you. Just let it work. Mac, you will always have my heart. Even though you get on my damn nerves with all the damn dongles you have to buy, you will always have my heart.
Yes, you have to buy it. Yeah, because when they just switched over from the USB-C, from the USB to the USB-C, I was like, oh, snap. Now I got to get adapter.
Adapter.
Well, you know what I actually ended up doing is you could buy a USB-C hub. And so I bought one from Amazon, which allows me to plug in a DSL cable. It has 3 slots for USB. 2 and 3. It's also got an SD card slot, so I can just take stuff from my camera and plug it in. It's got a lot. It's a hub, and it's about $53 or so on Amazon.
That's not bad, because by the time you get to buying all of the
different ones,
you could you spent well over $53.
Right, because one adapter, the USB to USB-C adapter from Apple, which I bought initially, is $20. So I was like mad when I did. I said, "Why did I do it?" It's because I wanted it right away. But then I went on Amazon and I found this USB-C hub. Fantastic. There are also adapters that will turn your. You could buy a set of 8. I think I bought a set of 8 for like $14 or something. That will turn your USB into a USB-C. So,
oh, there we go.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go and
Check
look
that
at
out.
because I need to because I got like several cords. Okay, wait, what cord do I need today? I think I need a hub.
yeah, no. In fact, I will. If you want, I can either put it in the chat or I'll
Yeah,
tell you.
put it in the
Yeah.
chat,
Put
please.
it in the chat,
Yeah,
please.
'cause
Yes.
I need a hub. And Karen says if it's not one thing, it's another. Yes, it's always going to be something that you have to do, but you want to. We're all about taking the hassle out of your hustle,
Mm-hmm.
and so if the hassle, it should not be your computer.
At all.
I like that. The hassle should not be your computer. Okay. The
It
computer should
really
be a
should
help,
not. I mean
not a
that
hindrance.
you should,
Yes.
learning the software for something might be a little bit of a hassle, but the
Mm-hmm.
computer should not be the hassle.
At
Okay.
all.
All
Yes.
right. Wow. Wow. Well, this
Yeah.
is
Yeesh.
So, and it's like okay, I just don't like
well.
repeating stuff.
Apple just had their event,
Yes.
and I thought it was really a great experience watching it.
You know what I like?
What's that?
He said, we're going to dispense with the other stuff. Let's just get right to it. I was like,
Yes.
Yes.
Dispense with the preliminaries. Let's
let's
go.
go. I was like, woo!
That
Yeah.
was a winner. But I also like the fact that now I want to talk about this because someone has one on right now, which is an Apple Watch. I
Oh,
saw well now the Apple Watch will tell you the time on a consistent basis, the 5.
yes.
And I like that. And I was looking, I said, oh, I want one of those now that I can look at it and actually see what time it is.
Yeah, yes, it doesn't like
Uh-huh.
right now when you raise your wrist, it'll
Yes,
open up
light up.
to see. But when you don't now the 5, you don't even have to raise your wrist yet. It's
Exactly.
on. The other thing I liked about the 5 is the health benefits. It keeps up with your EKG.
G. Uh-huh.
I don't want to be freaking out about, oh my God, but it tells you if you fall,
Mm-hmm.
if you fall, it will, if you stay down there, it's calling 911.
Okay. Yes.
That's genius. So it can tell if you tripped and fell forward, if you fell
Mm-hmm.
backwards, or you just kind of slumped or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't get up and move, it will call 911 and send emergency services to your location.
That's major
It
because I
is,
have some
you
folks
know,
in my wheelhouse that could use that. Yes.
so the Series 5 watch is doing some things. You can go swimming. They lowered the price on the
I was
Series.
going to ask you, does that mean I can actually swim on that on a regular basis?
Yeah,
So, see, that's a reason for me to have a 5 because I'm always putting my hands in dishwater
well, 4 does
You,
before I
it.
know it.
3, 4, look, 3 does it as well. She
Okay.
doesn't do what the 5 does, but go ahead, Tati.
well, no, I was just going to say that the key here, people, is to remember that it is water resistant, not
That's what I thought.
waterproof.
Right.
Waterproof and water resistant are two different things.
But she was swimming with it.
Yes,
Yeah, you can still swim with it, but waterproof means that no water will get in it at all. It's completely watertight or whatever. So this is water resistant, which means up to a certain amount of feet. You can, yeah.
like if you're
Okay.
diving, but this you can swim in 3, 4, and 5.
Mhm.
You can go swimming.
Oh,
And
okay.
go. And 3 is starting out. What did they just change the price? Did they say 199?
$199.
Yeah, 3 just
$199.
um uh
I said I can try something for $199. I can go there, but I think I
right.
just like to just jump over to the 5 so I don't have to worry about catching up
Exactly.
with
Yeah, see, I have the one.
technology. Hmm.
Mine is the first generation, and it works fine. I just can't swim in it.
Okay.
And that would be the only reason why I would just probably get a new watch because the one thing I like about Apple is that you can trade in stuff
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and get
Hmm.
money.
absolutely.
They will pay you to trade in your stuff. So that's
Oh, this was the other thing, Fran. Go ahead. They'll pay you to trade in your stuff. I'm not going to forget this. Go ahead.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
going to just.
but after a certain point, like my one is not the value is not there. So I like it
Mm-hmm.
stainless steel. The stainless steel one right now, I'm not paying for a new stainless steel this size. Not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm,
So
mm-mm.
I'm going to keep the one. I can buy another one that like a
Mm-hmm.
three for
Uh
199 and go swimming in it. I'm like, yes,
huh.
I'm good. You
Well,
have to
Absolutely.
keep it. So
Um, Go ahead, Fran. I'm sorry.
I was
Terry,
gonna.
you were gonna.
I wanted to add this because so many people talk about the fact that Apple is unaffordable. They now allow you to make payments. They announced that during the event. I was like,
They did.
okay, now we do layaway. We will make a payment. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. They need to do things like that to draw new audiences because they
Exactly.
are at a saturation point with why
Hmm.
do you think that the sales of iPhone have slowed?
Yes.
Basically because at some point everybody who is going to get the technology gets it and has it. So then you have to find new markets and new audiences for
Correct.
these things. The new audiences, people who probably could not afford it in one fell swoop before, now you can make payments so you're getting new people.
right. And
Hmm.
there's no interest on these payments.
I love it.
And you understand? So they made it easy for you to enter into the apple orchard, if I can say it that way. They
Yes.
they
I
made
love
it
it.
really easy for you to enter in. I was like, okay. Now the new phone that just came out,
Hmm.
the camera is awesome.
That's what they were saying.
But am I wanting? I don't do that much photography to have a camera.
Hmm.
That do you understand? I don't need that. I like my camera. I like what I have. I was like, okay.
So the whole camera thing is very interesting. First of all, let me just say I don't like the look of it. It looks like a Norelco shaver to me with the rotating
Because of
heads.
the
The
three.
three exactly. I think they could have done better design wise with that. That said, I think that adding the additional camera. I mean, it was mavericky when they added the two cameras because more than one camera allows you to get that shallow depth of field that really gives you a cinematic quality and a cinematic effect. Though I can tell the difference between it because I'm a filmmaker. I can see it,
Uh-huh.
but the average person wouldn't be able to see the difference. So, now adding that gives you an extra level of what you can do photography wise and, mobile filmmaking wise, which is great. Is it worth the price for that? So here's what we were just talking about this yesterday
Okay.
on the show that I do with Curtis in terms
Uh-huh.
of we were talking about cameras. And so in terms of live streaming and or mobile filmmaking, if you're starting with where you are with the phone that you have, that's fine. If you're going to do a lot of mobile stuff and you need something lightweight, that's fine. My thing is if you're doing something specifically to take pictures or to do film, buy a camera that is for that. Don't rely on the phone to do. The phone is great because it's an extra added bonus, but don't
Hmm.
buy it because I'm going to do it because I just want a great. No, buy a camera then. Then buy a camera. Otherwise, if you're doing mobile filmmaking specifically, then that's fine. But don't spend the extra money on the phone because of the camera if you're not doing mobile filmmaking or photography. Does
Right.
that if that makes
It
sense?
makes sense because you're always going to go with use the tools or get the tools that you need to do the job that you need to do. If your phone, like for me, I use it because I need maps. I need to be looking at properties. I need to go
Mm.
to certain things and fill out documents and all of that because it is really a computer. So it
Hmm.
does what I needed to do. I need to make sure that I'm using it for that purpose. Now, here's a little thing that I learned. When it comes to iOS 13, and all of that, it will still work on your phone that you have now. I'm going to say from 8. I'm gonna say 8. It might work on 7 too. The software update, you're still going to get all of the perks in the software update. You may
Oh, okay.
have to do. You don't need the hardware to do some of the updates. Now you can't bokeh somebody's, blur the background on something unless you have the camera that does that.
Correct.
But you can with the software updates, which is cool with Apple, is everybody gets that update. Like you can get what is it? Dark mode.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you can change
Yes.
light to dark or whatever. You can do some stuff, and this is even with Catalina and whatever. You can upgrade if they let you.
Okay.
You understand if your equipment can handle the upgrade.
Correct. That's cool.
Hi, Natalie.
Can I address? Brenna has a comment about what about the film, the movie that was filmed for the most part on an iPhone. It even won an award. Yes, that was called Tangerine. It did win an award, but here's what people don't realize: you cannot just take your phone like this and shoot an award-winning movie.
Oh, darn!
They had several different lenses that they used. They had, housing or casings and rigs. You have to trick out your phone in order to make it cinema quality. You can't just use it like this. And see, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, no. What you got to do is you got to trick it out. So you're going to be spending some extra money, because here's the thing that makes film so great. Yeah, it's the camera, but it's the lens. And often the lenses, that glass, cost way more than the camera body or the phone or whatever. So you're going to have to spend some money to trick it out to make it cinema quality. And my thing is like, it's an interesting exercise in what can be done with the technology that you have. I think it's interesting. But my thing, again, is like, if you're going to be serious about this, here's one thing. Phones were not meant to also carry all that memory and to shoot for a long time. So what you have to do is get that offloaded. It's a hassle. So it's great to show what you can do with mobile technology, but I still vote for a DSLR, mirrorless, or some sort of prosumer camcorder if you're going to be doing that.
Right. And so if you're doing movies now, if you're shooting your kid's birthday party, please use the phone.
Go on.
And it's going to be gorgeous in 4K. I'm serious. I shot something in 4K and they're like, oh, that's great quality, because it was just some interviews that I'd done at the church or something. I just did some interviews, plugged in a microphone and shot the interview, put it on a tripod. Hit record, and they talked and it was like, oh, that's gorgeous. Okay.
Yeah, no, it shoots gorgeous 4K video. It said, like you said, if you're doing, these smaller things, smaller events, family stuff, absolutely use it. That's what it's there for. And I think it's great. Don't think I am like poo-pooing it. I think it is great. I love that they've included that. It's just for people that see for example, a Tangerine, you've got to kit it out more in order for it to look like what you see on screen. And then if I could really quickly speak to the whole 4K thing. The thing about 4K is that in order to get the full benefit of what 4K can do, it has got to be 4K across the board. So what's happened is that people have gone out and bought these 4K television sets. Great. But most television stations and networks are not broadcasting in 4K. The signal is not going across in 4K. Okay, so unless everything is 4K across the board, you don't get the full benefit of what 4K can do. It looks better, definitely. You can see a difference, but you're not getting the full benefit of it, because we're just on HD, which is 1080p. When we talk about 4K, we're talking about pixels. How many pixels? There are 4,000 pixels per square inch. The more pixels, the sharper your image. HD is 1080p, minimum 720 to 1080p. 1080 per square inch. So it's less sharp and less clear than 4K. 5 years ago when I was at NAB, I was playing around with the 16K camera.
Whoa.
So this technology exists. but the infrastructure to make it work across the
It-
board does
it's not
not.
there.
Yeah.
So here, and what to Tachi's point, when you plugged up your 4K TV or whatever, they're telling you in order for you to see this in 4K, your HDMI cable needs to be able to do 4K. The cable that you're plugging into your Apple TV has the little box or something, and Roku has the 4K and all of that. But if them cables ain't 4K, you're not going to do it.
Exactly.
So, and if you shoot in 4K, even on your phone or whatever, and you want to upload it to Facebook, Facebook doesn't upload to 4K. It only uploads to 1080p. It's the highest. So you're not necessarily like Dr. Tachi said, you're not seeing 4K in full effect. You're not, and that's like when they do retina display. How do you know it's better unless you put the two of them together side by side? You can't tell.
No,
Different.
you really can't. You really can't. At the end of the day, I think it's start with where you are, start with what you have, and
Right.
then as you're getting serious about it, get progressively better. Invest to do progressively better.
Right.
Lakeisha says we went through the same thing when HD came out. Okay.
Sure did. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, I just what was it? 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I just bought my HGTV, and that was only because my bubble back standard definition went into a vortex because I was refusing to buy, and I'm a techie. I just wasn't going to buy a new TV, but I finally had to buy a new TV because that one went kaput, and I wasn't going to fix it. So what we're talking about, people just now adopting HD. Stations have, very recently, not too long ago, maybe as little as 10 years ago, switched everything over to an HD signal. But now you're asking them, and see, this is why everybody gets all in an uproar when you're talking about a new broadcast standard. There's a new broadcast standard that is out called ATSC3. Most stations have not upgraded to NTSC3 because that means you have to change over everything, and that's expensive.
Right. Yep. Natalie says YouTube and many of these platforms compress and stomp out the quality of these videos.
Yes. It's going to be compressed.
Because they can't hold that bandwidth. Okay, so we're here on StreamYard. StreamYard does not this has to go, it's going over to YouTube, it's going to Facebook. If I want a copy of this, I got to go get the YouTube copy or the Facebook copy. Why? Because StreamYard is not holding this on a server someplace.
Exactly.
Not yet. Anyway, they might do it in the future, but right now they're not. Facebook holds your stuff over on the server. So in order for them to get the millions of people, the videos of millions of people, they're going to have to, they give you a choice of SD or HD when you begin to film over on Facebook. Or if you want to go get it back or something, they say, do you want standard definition or do you want high def?
You better get high def. If you're trying to repurpose, this is another thing. If you're trying to repurpose this stuff, you want the best quality that you can possibly attain.
Right.
What people at some point, maybe this is something that you want to take off of the internet. There are different standards for shooting and doing things depending on what the end result is. If you're shooting and it's going to go up on social media or whatever, you don't have to have as high of a standard. However, if there's some point where you're like, well, I might like to do this later, maybe there's a short film festival where you can upload all this stuff and you want to do that. The moment you blow up something that is not high enough res, it's going to look pixelated. So think about this before you shoot things.
Right.
Okay. Well, speaking of shooting things, look at here, Dr. Tachi. What's going on in media?
Oh, that was a nice segue. That was a nice segue. So, guys, what's happening in media? Some of the things that we talked about on Mediascope on Wednesday is, since we're talking about the Apple event, Apple TV. I don't know if you guys, I don't think you really touched on this, but we talked about this before. Apple TV Plus is premiering November 1st. Here's the cost: $4.99, $5 a month. That was not by accident. They know they're contending with Disney Plus and all the other bloody pluses out there that are coming out, right? So
Yes.
in order to be competitive, they knew they had to come in, not even at, but below what their competitors were doing. And that is the impetus for the $4.99, you're not fooling me, $5 price
And
point.
they're giving it to you for free with new devices.
With new
Yes.
devices, you
For
get a
1 year.
year for
For
free.
1 year. It's
I
not
said
7 days.
yes.
Wait, it's not 7 days. It's not 2 week trial.
30-day trials.
You get the whole thing. I was like, $5.99. I might go in there and just shut off a whole bunch of stuff just to get it at $5.99.
I heard that.
Exactly. You know what? And what's the harm? If it's something that you want to check out, then it's $5. You don't like it, cut it off. That's fine. So it's a cheap enough price point that you could come in and check it out. And previously it was rumored that it was going to be about $10, $9.99. They knew that wasn't going to fly probably, so to get people in, they did this. So November 1st, it debuts before Disney Plus's service, which is going to be $6.99 a month with ad-free view. Yeah, so they came with we'll come in at $1 below.
And you'd be surprised how that dollar will make a difference to people.
Well,
I think they're going to get a lot of people migrating from Netflix over to Apple because they're saturated with the content. It's like, okay, what else y'all got?
now I'm thinking Netflix is going to be okay because Netflix has a whole different setup.
Flavor. Okay.
Well, so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go.
Well, this is what you have to think about. Netflix actually pummeled $13 billion into original content. So not only do they have the licensed content on there, they, despite losing to Disney Plus, all the Marvel properties, possibly Star Wars and some of these other things. And then, of course, some of the other things that are on HBO, some of these properties are coming off of Netflix. This is why they were smart and they knew they had to create original content. So they spent $13 billion to create their own original content. Which is doing well for them. Look at how many people they have watching, plus all the awards. So Apple has invested $6 billion in original content. Yeah, for the service. So it doesn't have any library titles or licensed content, unlike the other streaming rivals. So one thing that Apple could really do is really be strong in terms of the original content, so that they are truly a network and not just licensing. Okay, that's something that would separate them from the Amazons, the Hulus, and the Netflixes of the world. If they had all original content, I think they could really, and not just original content, good original content. Nobody's going to pay for rubbish.
Woo, please, thank you. Because I was like, some original content, I'm like, why did you all even bother to put the camera on for this?
It's like, did you shoot this with your iPhone? Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Did you shoot it with your iPhone?
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
And when they say original content, you're kind of like, okay, is you doing like this? I'm like, okay, is it gonna be good or I'm watching some shows. I watched something on Netflix called The Rim of the World. I'm thinking, because I like action movies and stuff. And it was a little kids action thing.
Oh.
I'm watching it and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. It had the monsters, it had the fact, and it had all the stuff. The kids were a little, I'm like, who wrote the script?
Dialogue.
Had the dialogue, because some of that stuff the kids were talking was a little MA and not PG, because I don't think it was PG. They should have had an MA on that.
Okay.
But it was a good action show. The story was good. I was like,
yeah. I mean, I think the thing I like about all these streaming services is that if they do it right, they could provide opportunities for emerging filmmakers, emerging content producers.
Okay.
But what Apple has done, and I've seen their slate. I watched the trailer for what they had coming up. They've drawn a lot of Hollywood stars. So they've got Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell. They've got Reese Witherspoon, Oprah, Jason Momoa. They've drawn a lot of these Hollywood stars for their things. And so I'm like, okay, is that the way you're going to go, where it's like all high-level Hollywood stars? I think Netflix has done a really good thing in providing opportunities for filmmakers and creators who otherwise would not get a chance, and they're doing some great stuff. I don't know if Apple is going to do that or if they're going to stay on their Hollywood trajectory, but they have a real opportunity here with the original programming if they swing it right.
Right.
Okay.
So Mark says, I'm charging $6.99 for my appearance here today.
Oh, okay. We'll send you a check.
Uh, yeah, and Natalie says that was a cute little movie and it was better than she thought it was going to be. I did too, because sometimes you look at the trailers and you're like, I don't know. Okay, and I have stuff like my Saturday afternoon category. Okay, that's the Saturday thing. I'll have to wait for that. And then, you try and figure out what you're going to watch, like with Amazon and their British stuff. And I'm like,
I love British mysteries.
Love it.
yeah,
Love
I
it.
was,
I
I
am
was
a
trying to
BritBox
figure out.
fan, Acorn. I mean, they got me. I don't know what to say.
And then there's our CBS. They still have nothing on.
Well,
Nothing.
I am trying to disconnect from Hulu, but my grandkids like it. So maybe if I do the thing with Disney, it'll probably they won't.
Yeah.
I may not notice.
They'll be like, Hulu, who? Please.
Exactly.
And here's the thing about Disney. Because my granddaughter watched it or whatever. Disney stuff ain't like it was. I was like, I went in there because it used to have, like Casey Undercover and some other stuff. Right now, the stuff on Disney is not that interesting.
Well,
it gets dull after a while. But I'm
It can
hoping
get
that
dull.
they have expanded the repertoire for this opening. With
I hope.
I don't know.
I hope we'll see. We'll see. I do have another piece of interesting thing, if I may.
Yeah,
Please do.
Yeah. So I don't know if you all watched the on HGTV A Very Brady Renovation. This is a show where the original cast of the Brady Bunch, the 6 remaining, all the kids, they're still alive. They actually are renovating the house that served as the establishing shot for them. Of course, they shot a Brady Bunch on set on a back lot on CBS or wherever they were on. And then the outside of this house in, was it San Fernando Valley, I think?
Somewhere in California.
Right. Or San Bernardino. It served as the backdrop for it. So somebody owns it and they're actually renovating it. It was the most popular, the highest rated premiere in HGTV history.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding at all.
To put in shag rugs? Give me a break.
Well, that's why it's a renovation. I would have bloody well hope they're not putting in shag rugs.
If they're restoring it to the original decor.
No, they're renovating. No. They're updating the house. They're going to change it and do a makeover on the house.
They're going to modernize the house.
They're right, and everybody loves a makeover.
Go retro with this makeover.
No.
Okay,
no.
We're going forward.
Right.
Okay,
forward.
I think the people who made it such a hit was everybody who was watching the Brady Bunch. We all want to know what
Marsha, please. Really?
We all want to know what everybody looks like now. So we'll tune in to see.
I don't want to know.
She doesn't care.
Yeah, she don't care, but the rest of us
is like,
people with gray hair and what they look like now.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia factor, definitely. It's the fact of everybody loves a good renovation. I think that there is more forgiveness for doing things and spending extravagantly or, whatever it is you're trying to do in a renovation when it's celebrities because it is expected. What happens is usually, and I said this on Wednesday, this is usually what happens on HGTV renovation shows. Hi, my name is Angela, and this is my husband, Brad. I teach painting to goats, and he raises salamanders. Our budget is $10.5 million. In what world? So that's what makes us annoyed with that kind of ish. But you won't be annoyed if it's celebrities doing it because it's expected. But with regular folk who is like, I'm sorry, I do more than teach painting to goats. How can you afford $10.5 million? Okay, so
Exactly.
Okay, so now I'm going down this rabbit trail since you opened this up. Who is it? The lady Chip and Diana that has
Oh
the
yeah,
flipping
Chip
thing?
and somebody in
Is
Texas.
it
oh,
somebody's flipping houses or whatever?
Yeah,
So I walk into RC Willie, and they have all the stuff that she uses to make the house look good with the
interior
decoration and
decorating.
decor and stuff. I'm not paying that. I'm just not. I'm I'm not trying to. I'm
But
trying to
it's
understand.
Chip. Come on,
it's Chip and
Chip.
Joanna Gaines said, well, they have built this
Oh,
brand and people have bought into the brand. Brilliant marketing on their. Anybody who has anything on
Okay,
HGTV
I
needs
don't,
to
I
have
don't,
a culture line.
I don't want to go here with you, Doc. But aren't they getting a divorce?
No,
no,
no, no, no. You're
no,
talking. You're talking about
Somebody else.
Tarek, and the wife,
somebody
Somebody
else.
the
who
ex-wife.
does
Right. They're getting
houses.
divorced.
Okay,
Um,
they do
That was
houses,
somebody
right?
else. What you're saying, Dr. Tachi, these people have they have the flowers, the signs, the blah 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 blah. And I'm like, really? And they came in and they did their show,
Uh huh.
and they all have products after it. The twins,
the
Oh, the
property
guys,
brothers.
Property
brothers.
Brothers, they done
Mm-hmm.
moved to California. I'm sorry. They's like, I'm out of Canada. I'm sorry. They moved from Canada. They are in the
Sunny
United States.
California.
Southern Cal now.
They're not trying
Absolutely.
to do snow unless they're going to the mountains.
Now,
Okay.
and if you have the money to do that, why not? You know,
Hey, I'm not mad.
HGTV has been good for. They have like a couple of shows on there. They do some other things. So HGTV has really, but it's so disingenuous. And you know this, Francine, as a realtor, half of that ish does not happen in real life. So it's the process is much different on TV than it is in real life. Same thing with $1 Million Listing.
Hmm.
Um,
Really. And it's like, come on, seriously. You
Oh, okay.
people
I
to
see
see
Jay.
more,
Thank you, Jay.
you take people to see more than three houses. You get to choose from one of these three. Really?
Hmm.
That ain't happening in real life.
no, and they always pick the ugly one that I can't stand. When I'm like, that's the house you want. So, and anyway,
No, it's like,
Well, they have a budget too. So
well, the show is helping them with their budget.
I'm
So,
just saying the show has a budget too.
yeah, that's true.
We're doing the ugly house because we can get it for $10,000. I don't know, for
and
taxes or
then,
whatever.
they're flipping for you, and
Mhm.
they make it look like flipping houses is easy. That
They
ain't
do,
no
and like it doesn't take any time. Oh, we can do this. We're going to be back in 30 minutes, and we'll be done. What?
There are homes, and this is the thing. I know that people who are in the industry don't get beholden to what they see on social media and television and such necessarily, but maybe there are some that do. But there are people who have, I've seen, around here, people who have gotten things that flipped, and it's beautiful because I'm nosy and I always need to see what's happening in my neighborhood, and I'll go to the open house. Some of these houses have been sitting
Mm-hmm.
sitting and sitting and sitting. So it's not as easy to flip. It takes time to do the renovations. If they're unexpected, like I live in a neighborhood where everything is mid-century modern. So that means that there's galvanized steel pipes. The pipes are old. Are they failing? So there are all sorts of unexpected things that start to happen that may add to the cost of things. And then you hope to flip it relatively soon, and no.
and see, but people don't understand about real estate. That house is for one particular somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not everybody's gonna get your purple teal walls or whatever you're doing. It's got to be a unique fit for somebody, or somebody
Mm-hmm.
has to be able to see themselves there where they can change it the way they want.
And most buyers don't. Most buyers, I shouldn't say most, but many buyers want things ready, done, turnkey, or where, it's like, so they can't see past the walls are purple. Well, you can paint that. They can't see
Mm-hmm.
past it. So,
No,
Mm-hmm.
or they can't see past the studs. I have had homes where the renovations have started. Just put your own touch to it. Okay, no, they can't see. They need to have something visual.
it is what it is. That's where AI and virtual reality can come in. So,
And
Well
that's
stated.
technology There is, because people keep sending me stuff. We can virtually stage a house, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, okay. So how close to fraud is that? Do you understand what I mean? They're not changing the room necessarily, but they're putting furniture into the house. And then when the customer goes to look at the house, is nothing in the house, because
But isn't there an app for that? Where you?
that's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
There are photographers that can stage a house for you with nothing in it, make it look like, so you can put pictures online to make it
Mm-hmm.
so people can see what it looks like staged.
You
Uh-huh.
know, but I don't think that's fraud, because the
I'm,
same thing is when you stage a home, it's not going to stay that way forever, you know, and you have to expect that that furniture is not going to come as long as you disclose that, you know, it's staged. I think it's okay, but I'm not a realtor. I simply
Well, I
work
think
with them.
it's okay too. I just remember on $1 Million Listing that
uh-huh.
dude changed up a couple of pictures, wasn't what they were supposed to be or
When they
something.
got there. But did he
No, they
change
had
the size
added
of the room or
he had
just the
added some
furniture?
stuff, and he thought it was okay.
Hmm.
I was like, dude,
Well,
seriously?
I think disclosure is disclosure, right? Did he tell him that he added some stuff? See, that's the issue. Did he disclose that this is virtually augmented?
Wait a minute, he added features like to the architecture?
I think he did, because I don't think it would have been a problem if you just, like you said, just put a picture of a chair and the room is still the same,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think he did a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
Oh well,
that's
okay,
unethical.
okay.
That's unethical. Now
That's
you're
bait.
peddling a
That's
product that you don't have.
that's bait
Right.
and
And I
switch.
think that's what they did.
Okay.
And that might have been what they did, because I was like,
Yes.
seriously?
Yeah, because Brenna's saying you can go to Sherwin Williams and change your wall colors with the
Hmm.
pictures that you take. And that's what
Right.
I thought you meant, Fran, like being able to go in there online on an app and sort of get a
Yeah.
visual.
No, that's what they do. No, this guy will, the photographer will come in and put furniture in the house
Uh-huh. Okay. Virtually.
virtually. Yeah. So that's technology,
Mm-hmm.
because that's just like Photoshop.
Yes.
Seriously, basically, that's all it is Photoshop. Photoshop allows you to change the pictures of something. I can change that mug that Terry is drinking out of right now. You can do so much stuff, like,
Okay.
um, there's a
But
fire.
could you change what's in the mug? No.
In
I'm
the
sorry.
pictures, you can.
And then Adobe allows you. They have the one where they can make your voice. They can alter your voice
Oh,
too.
yes, that's scary.
That's very different, because you can make somebody say something and they weren't even in
At the
the
event.
vicinity at all. I was like,
So
ooh.
when I'm accepting the Emmy, y'all can change my speech. Can you change
No,
my dress?
I think you need to have the talent and the dress.
We need to change that, right?
But you
Yeah.
know what? That brings up something very interesting in
Hmm.
terms of how much talent do you actually have to have nowadays in order to succeed in certain things? And this has been happening for a while with the debut of something like auto tune for music. There are so many people who have just mediocre voices, and this is not saying, you know, they may be great entertainers, but they have mediocre voices. And because you could do all sorts of things with technology, make them studio artists as opposed to concert artists, you know, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just
So
don't take them on the road.
just stay in the studio. Stay in the studio. Don't do small venues. Just stay in the studio.
So, so me and Willie Vanilla,
You
Willie
could.
Vanilli need to stay home. Okay.
No, you could have it with through the magic of auto tune. You could have,
You too can sound like this.
yes.
Okay. Wow,
This
guys.
is anything else in the world of media? Because this has been kind of,
Sorry.
oh, one.
I'm
If you
sorry.
go,
What did you say?
if you got anything else?
One other story.
Okay.
In terms of media
Mm-hmm.
ratings are a big thing. So, and you all know that Nielsen is the predominant source for what's on TV in terms of ratings. So when the ratings come in the morning, that's Nielsen. Now they do this because there's a device that's usually attached to television sets, but for the longest time they have not been counting people who watch television content outside of the home. And that is
Okay.
that is, you're missing a whole lot of people who are consuming content. So they just announced that they are going to begin counting viewers outside of the home. So that means if you're watching content in bars, in an airport, an office, or on your phone or your tablet, they're all going to be accounted for in the measurements. Now, why are the measurements important? Because that is what is used to set advertising rates.
So you would have thought they'd done that a long time ago when they started streaming with Netflix.
TMLR, too much like right. And they have been asking them to do these things for years. So television stations, I'm sure, are quite happy about this now, that now all of the ways people consume content are going to be counted.
Okay. I think they just figured out, look, we're losing out on not having these numbers, because I was surprised how many places that debate was streamed to last night. I was like, y'all finally get it. You finally
it got out. Wherever you're looking,
they broke out the house girl. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, well, and then Nielsen is also realizing that they're starting to lose out because CNBC had actually stopped subscribing to them 4 years ago because they weren't counting all the different places that people were consuming CNBC. So they're like, well, no need for that if I'm getting an accurate number. So I think they're realizing that these people are actually wanting, because then you can also charge premium prices to advertisers if you know it's being watched in more places.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
One last little tidbit from Apple. They also have the arcade coming out.
Yeah, Apple Arcade.
I'm looking for that. Yes.
And I was like, dang it, I gotta wait till November. Okay. And it's $5 a month. And you can play, everybody in the house can play the game. Everybody in the family you only need one subscription, $5 a month, and you can play every game that they have. I was like, yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I understand what that means. That means if my grandson is not at my house, he can still use the subscription wherever he is by just signing into his account.
Because of the family plan.
Gotcha.
And when they pulled the top gamers from the 70s and 80s to do these games too. This wasn't like, we don't know who these people are games. These are people who had the pinball, the game that stood in an arcade. I was like,
yes.
Frogger is there. They've redone Frogger. Yeah, they partnered with a lot of these original gaming manufacturers and these gaming people to redo some of these games. So that, you've got this nostalgia factor there too. If not, people love nostalgia, especially in tumultuous times. It takes you back to, remember when I just used to go to the arcade and just play games. So, it takes you back to those times. So I think not only are they trying to bring up nostalgia, not only are they trying to get modern gamers, releasing it in November is key time, because that is just before the holidays. What better gift than to give this subscription?
I love it.
$5. I was like, because I don't play a lot of games on my phone. And I was like, I might do arcade for $5 a month instead of, paying for each app.
Well, here's the other thing. I think it may be if it doesn't start marketing to kids to buy this tool and buy this weapon and do this and do that, it's a savings.
Yeah, because Fortnite has and everything.
Yeah, if it's a safe place to game and it's cost effective.
Safe place to game. Because I just want to play the game. Don't give me an ad. I just want to play the game. Let me learn how to jump over the pit before you start asking me for stuff.
Exactly. No, I don't want to buy the super spiked sword. I just want to keep going. Yes.
And I was like, whatever. I can't get with you guys. I want to try and learn how to play a game because it's relaxing.
Yeah.
But you got ads popping up every time you get ready to do something, it's like, what's the point?
Well, here's my thing too. Does this mean that I don't have to buy an Xbox? Because I could just play it on
Well,
my
so
phone
so
or on
here's the
my
thing.
laptop or on my
Uh,
iPad.
I think there's a very specific audience for these things. Now, I don't know about the concept of shared gaming with these. I don't remember them addressing all of that, the concepts of shared gaming. But the thing is, with Xbox, you can game with other people in other
Yes.
places. So I don't think that the age of Xbox or whatever is over. Um,
No.
it also, they will be coming out. Apple doesn't have every game and all the different games,
Mm-mm.
so I think there are just it's choice. It's just about choice. So I don't think this will be the end all and be all for gamers at all. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just about offering more choice. Even if Apple thinks they will be, they're not, because Xbox
Uh-huh.
has already created a tribe and a community
Yes.
around what they do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, there's PlayStation, and everybody has done.
Mhm.
Like over a couple of days ago, my granddaughter and everybody they're playing the Spider-Man thing, where you literally climb up the walls and it's virtual. You put this thing on your face and it
Uh-huh.
looks like you're standing over the edge of the building and swinging
Uh-huh.
across the swinging with the web and all of that.
Oh,
And I was like, and people were like, it seems very real when you put
Mm-hmm.
the
The
goggles.
glasses on. Wow.
I was like, okay, I don't need to be up on a high building trying to swing on a web, but
Do you see Tachi's face? She's like,
I'm thinking what else those things. That's a great thing about VR, that it
mm-hmm.
allows you to do those things. But imagine if we could use those things so that other people could experience catastrophic events
Mm.
like slavery, and then, and then see how people feel about it afterwards. So I mean, it just got me thinking about what AI,
Other
the other
applications.
applications. Yeah.
yeah, and they have some where you're going to the museums and you're doing different things, or you immersive where you're there.
Exactly.
You're in the moment with them while you're watching the bullets fly and stuff.
So Tashi's trying to immerse us in culture. She's like, okay, we're gonna
You
pay
know me
attention.
now. You know me now. I love entertainment, but I
but
think
but it should be for educational purposes.
Mhm.
What really went on? See, I don't have a lot of time because I got to roll to another place.
Mhm.
But the whole thing when Hitler was doing his thing and everybody, well, where was the rest of the world? I was like, what the
They were
hell?
doing what we are doing. I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole.
I was
Okay.
like, so he's killing everybody,
they,
and y'all
they,
sitting around
they
watching.
were doing what we are doing right now.
That's why VR could be so useful. I mean, some people only
The
learn through
only
experiences.
thing necessary for evil to succeed is that good men do nothing.
That's right.
And that's exactly what was happening. So we are not going to be the good men that do nothing. Let's use our powers for good. Take your tech and use it for good.
Yes, I agree.
Uh,
And on that note, this has been the Tech Diva Weekly for September 13th, 2019.
Mhm.
I would just like to thank all of our audience for being here and for the interaction, and Bobby and Mark and Jay, Dr. Tachi, Natalie.
Now it says you got to monetize your ish. Okay, I get
Yes.
it. I get it, Natalie.
Monetize
It's
your
so
Right,
true.
itch.
Greta. This is good conversation. Follow one another. Join Dr. Tachi on her show on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays is Mediascope. Thursdays is And We're Live.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
That's the show Curtis and I do together.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. And we're live. Okay, I got to follow that so I can get it when it pops up live. And follow her over on LinkedIn. She's live over there too.
Mhm.
We all are waiting for our little credentials. We probably need to be more
It's
organized.
coming, and whatever I can do to hasten that, believe me, I will do.
Oh, bless your
Yeah,
heart.
they're probably looking to, oh, maybe they're not, but to see if we get a little bit more organized, a little bit more
Well, we are faithful.
television. You know what I mean.
Faithfulness is going on over here.
You know, actually do a checklist with a run sheet and some
Mhm.
stuff. Anyway,
Yeah, I
That's
don't know
okay.
that it's that serious. I
I
think
don't. I don't think so.
I mean, you all
It's
do
live.
amazing content 5 days a week. This is actually a service for all the platforms that all of us that do live streaming are on. We're doing a service because we're providing content and nobody is paying us.
Information. We're doing it for the love of it.
Yeah, yeah,
girls to be here.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
So
With
with that,
that.
we're gonna see you on Monday. It's been great talking to everybody. Thank you all for tuning in here live. We will be back again Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern time, and wherever you are in the world, you probably just need to get something to figure out the time frame. But thank you, Dr. Tachi, as always. Teacher
Thank you.
will be back with us on Tuesday.
Love you, girl.
Ah, and
All right, guys. Yes, I'll be here.
you just don't get, you must be on another, you must be on vacation. Don't forget to go to
To
the
the front of your own line. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.